How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Now before I get into the video, I just want to remind you guys that on Friday there is a special guest. I'm doing a live stream. It will be a drunk stream. I will be covering the new update. I'll be streaming it and stuff. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun and I hope to see you guys there. I'm definitely looking forward to it and I think you guys are going to have just as much fun as I'm going to. And with that said, the new update is now live. It added Felucia, it added the Clone Commandos, it added instant action, and it added the new co-op mode and a bunch of quality of life changes and stuff. And with that update, there is a bunch of small little details that I'm sure a lot of you guys may have missed. And in this video today, I'm going to cover a lot of those little tiny details that might have been overlooked. So for starters, the clones have had a bit of an update to the way they look. Before, they had this really tight looking appearance to them. Their shoulders seemed like they were really close together, kind of like they had just really tiny shoulders. In this update, they have changed the way that the clones look in the menus and stuff. The clones definitely have some really broad shoulders now, which is pretty cool, and it just makes them look better. It's a small detail, but it's something that the community talked about for quite some time. I saw it, I think a couple months ago on the Reddit, and it's just nice to see that the devs actually do listen and they take feedback, and this is one of the small changes that they made, and I think it looks better. And then if you guys have not seen yet, we are supposed to be getting the Kenobi emote for Darth Maul, and we're supposed to be getting the Luke skin. The Luke skin is currently in the main menu screen, so if you haven't seen it, I think it alternates with the Clone Commando, so that looks pretty cool. But here is what the emote looks like for Darth Maul. It's been data mined. I think it's really cool and it sounds cool, and this is probably my favorite emote in the game so far, and I can't wait to unlock it. And then another small detail, this is in instant action. This image comes from user Dima Jader on Reddit. Sorry if I said your name wrong, but this is just a collection of some of the different names that they've given the bots in instant action. Instead of just having the same old, just bland default like CT105 or whatever numbers for the clones, some of these characters have unique names. For example, the Wookiees actually have like Wookiee names, which is pretty neat, instead of having just the same old, just dull blank numbers. This gives it a little bit of life, and yeah, it's pretty cool that these characters have actual names instead of just another number. It's a small detail, but it's one that I appreciate. I mean, I thought it was so cool when I came across a Wookiee and it had a freaking name. I mean, it felt like I was fighting alongside an actual character instead of just another AI bot. And then getting into some of the details that are on Felucia itself, because there is a lot. We're going to start off with the huts. There's a bunch of little huts and houses and stuff on Felucia, and you can go inside of all of them and check them out. They all have unique interiors. They all have something different about them. You can go in every single one of them, and some of them have drawings on the floor, some of them have like a fireplace lit, some of them have food, some of them have dirty dishes, and it's definitely worth checking out. Just go in there in your free time. I mean, you can hide from the battle in these, so like if you're taking damage, just run inside real quick, regen your health. So they're really good for that. And there's just a bunch of Easter eggs hidden inside of them. I saw a pair of false teeth laying on one of the tables, which is pretty cool. And it's, yeah, definitely worth checking out. And I really like this attention to detail that they went into. And then I'm sure you guys have probably seen this laser grid fence. It's pretty much like Felucia's version of an electric fence, just to, I'm assuming, keep wildlife and stuff out of like the crops. Well, this fence does damage to you, and you can actually turn it on and off. If you go over to the little panel at the front, you can just hold it in like it's an objective, and yeah, you can turn off the fence. I don't see how this would really help too much in a certain situation, like maybe you could trap somebody in there, I don't know, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool, and it's a cool detail. And then there is a bunch of just different explosions and background clutter, and just there's so much stuff constantly happening to make it feel like it's an actual battle on this map. If you look over in the distance, you can actually see one of those droid tanks, like the ones with the wheels. They're over off in the distance, and they are getting blown up just off in the background, and they're shooting their missiles and stuff, and it looks really neat. So if you look off in the distance, you can see just a ton of this kind of stuff. And if you look up in the sky, you can see a bunch of starfighters and stuff flying around as well, which is pretty cool. They have this on Geonosis as well. They have these tanks, and they have the spider tanks and stuff off in the distance. But yeah, I wish these tanks were playable. Unfortunately, they're not. There's not really enough room on the maps, but it is cool to look at. And then moving on to creatures, there's actually quite a few different creatures on Felucia. There are, for starters, there's some bugs. If you go into the objective D, there are these little tiny bugs, and when you're standing still, they'll sort of just cling on to you and they'll follow you around. And then if you move from place to place, the bugs will follow you, which, I mean, it's nothing crazy. I'm not sure if this happens anywhere else on the map, but I definitely have noticed it at D. And if you're constantly on the move and you're not really standing still, you might not even notice this. This could be overlooked, but yeah, now you know. And then as we're at D, I might as well mention that there are quite a few snails, like really big snails on this map. A lot of them spawn at D in the caves, but you can also find them just scattered throughout everywhere. They don't do anything. If you shoot them, they just ignore you, but they do look cool, and it's a creature that I've never seen in Star Wars before, and yeah, it's pretty neat. And then as for the next creatures, when you look up into the sky, you can see these like flying manta rays. They are native to Felucia, and I mean, you can shoot them and stuff. They don't really do anything. They just ignore you as well. But they were constantly flying up in the sky. And then there's some like bird-looking pterodactyl kind of creatures that just sort of hang out as well. And then I wasn't able to capture any of the actual video of them because they're so hard to find. But if you look off into the distance on some of the mountains, you can sometimes spot some of the natives, like some of the Felucian farmers and stuff. So they're really hard to see, but definitely keep an eye out for them, and you will see them if you just keep looking for them. They like to hang up onto the mountains. They use their binoculars and stuff, and they look down on you. And then moving over back towards D, next to those caves is a dead Rancor. The Rancor used to live in those caves, and fortunately he didn't make it. He is dead up on top of the cliff, and yeah, he's part of the scenery. He looks pretty freaking sweet. It's unfortunate that he's not alive and part of the battle. That would be pretty neat, but yeah, you can jump up on him. You can check out his details. I mean, he's pretty large. I couldn't imagine how big he would be if he was like standing up trying to fight you. But yeah, in case you guys didn't see him, here he is in all his glory. And then moving over to the Sarlacc Pit, there are actually some fish that are swimming around. Now the Sarlacc Pit has, I'm assuming, long been dead because, I mean, it's filled with water. The mouth is still technically in there. If you go like jump into the pit itself, you can see the mouth, but it's not alive. I mean, its tentacles aren't reaching out and grabbing you or anything. I think it would probably be a little bit cooler if it was alive and it would like reach out and grab people with its tentacles. But I mean, it still looks cool. And yeah, if you look closely, you can see a bunch of fish swimming in it. And since we are already at the Sarlacc Pit, you can actually hover over it with vehicles. If you have a speeder, you can just hover over the water. It won't kill you or anything. You can just chill out and take in the view and appreciate how freaking cool it looks. And then, of course, if you hold in the X button or the square button or whatever button, you can jump off your speeder and go for a swim. And then moving forward, there are poisonous plants scattered throughout the entire map. Just as you're running along, there are different flowers that will pop up and disperse different poisons and stuff. And then if you see these poisonous mushrooms, they're like glowing like really bright neon green, and if you shoot them, they will explode and release poison. These are actually really good at dealing damage. You can die from these, and I've used these sometimes to kind of trap enemies. Like I was fighting at D, somebody ran back into the caves, and I threw a couple grenades and it blew up all the mushrooms and they died from poison damage. So these are an actual strategy that you can use on the map, so keep an eye out for them because they can actually help you. And then the final detail that I have for you guys is that when you are playing on instant action, when you spawn in, you will sometimes have AI follow you. I noticed that when you spawn in on Kashyyyk, 2 of the AI, just the nearest ones that when you spawn in, will follow you no matter where you go. If you go to a command post, they will follow you. If you just want to stand still, they will gladly just stand still beside you. They will be your personal bodyguards. This is kind of a callback to the old Battlefront game. Back in the day, you could just hold in one of the buttons on the D-pad and you could tell people to follow you. So yeah, I haven't tested this with heroes or anything yet. I don't know if you can get like Yoda or somebody to follow you. I think that would be pretty neat if you could. But yeah, in case you guys didn't know that, you can have bots follow you around and be your personal bodyguards. So that is going to do it for all the details so far on Felucia. I'm sure there are some that I've yet to discover. If you guys know of any that I haven't pointed out in this video, please let me know down in the comment section down below so that other people can find out as well. If there's that many more that I didn't cover, then I will gladly make a part 2 if you guys enjoyed this type of thing. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. As a reminder, I'm doing that live stream on Friday. Be sure to check out another video, guys. Join the Discord if you haven't already. All the links are down in the description down below. And that's going to do it for me, guys, and I will talk to you all in the next video.
Will you join me? Accept your fate. I grew impatient.